So I just fed my Pokemon lunch in my Pokemon Sleep app. As I've said before, in the beginning, it was a lot. It was overwhelming, and I almost uninstalled the app on the very first day. It has a bit of a surprisingly lengthy tutorial considering what it's for, for sleep. So I would think like 98% of the time when you're installing this, it's because you want something that keeps track of your sleep and maybe even helps you put to sleep and recognize patterns as well as get some tips and tricks along the way that might not be upfront and obvious to you. Um, so I would highly recommend if you want to use this app, make sure you have an hour or so before your bedtime to sit down and just get through the tutorial and absorb all that information, as well as when you wake up first thing in the morning, it walks you through that process as well of what all that entails, because it's a little bit more convoluted. um, I see what they're going for. They're trying to go for the fact that it's Pokemon. There's no battles or anything like that, but every night, depending on how your sleep went, where you set your camp, all that good stuff, depending on all that, there's Pokemon that come overnight, because the Snorlax has something called like drowsy power. It like attracts Pokemon to come over and snooze with him. So then you have to like catch them in the morning depending on the biscuits you give them, if you reach the friendship level, and then there's also the Pokemon you already have that they have to be fed, as well as your Snorlax, of course. So the way mine is set up, I don't know about if it's different for everybody, but like at the earliest, I can give breakfast at like 4 a.m., which is kind of neat for me because that's usually when I wake up anyways. Like I wake up like 2:30, 3:30, 4 a.m. So it's just something to do on the phone when I first wake up. Um, because my brain is just go, go, go first thing sometimes. Um, but then there's also lunch and dinner. So something to keep in mind if you're working like a 9 to 5. Um, but it does give you like a range of time that you can work with to do that, because otherwise they get hungry and then they're miserable, kind of like a Nintendogs type ordeal, of course. Um, but the Pokemon you have on your camp, you can have a team of up to any 5 Pokemon. Um, they find and feed your Snorlax. They find berries uh, when you're not on the app, so that's running in the background constantly. So obviously, if energy with your phone is a concern, might want to keep that in mind. Um, but yeah, just some things to keep in mind. Um, just right off the bat, I think I pretty much have the app figured out, I would say. Um, I don't have exactly like a strategy, but just more kind of like first in, first out type deal. I'll go into depth with that another time. But you definitely want to like make sure that you're keeping your phone plugged in overnight. um, because otherwise it'll drain your phone's battery and it will die overnight, and then also you won't get the accurate recording of sleep that you would want. So I finally caved in. I need to get this anyways. I got like a 10-foot cable, so like no matter where I lay in the room, it's fine. It's charging. Um, so this is not the most accurate thing, because since this last week was like my first week of using this app, it's not the most accurate thing. Um, But here on the main menu, you can look at your sleep data. So this is, I guess, these lightly colored bars here in the top chart, top bar graph, is like what last week looked like. So as you can see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was a lot of sleep for sure. That happens once in a blue moon. We'll see here soon more accurately of how often that really happens for me. As you can see, Saturday is broken up. That's because like the phone cut off, and then when I woke up in the morning, I like tried to fix it. You can manually, as you can see, there's an add sleep data button. You can manually add sleep, but you don't get the same benefits, and obviously you don't get the Pokemon from that time frame sleeping as if you did it when the app was actually running, if that makes sense. So there is that. And one good thing though, if you're a broken sleeper like I am, like sometimes, a lot of times, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go back to sleep, it lets you do 2 sleep sessions a night. So, you know, I can wake up, tell the app, hey, I woke up, take care of the Pokemon, screw around, do whatever else, and then when I'm ready to go back to sleep, I can put that I'm going back to sleep. I have not been very good about that second part because I just kind of doze off without even realizing. I tell myself like, oh, I'm just going to take a little power nap and I'll get up, and then I don't. So I'm just going to have to really either, if it's not too early, you know, when I'm up, stay up, or if I'm even going to take a little power nap, like just go ahead and put on the app like, hey, I'm going back to sleep, by the way. So there is that. So we'll see what this week looks like more. So it's definitely good at recording as long as you're on top of yourself of like shortly before you go to sleep, you know, put in the app, and then when you wake up, go back on the app. It's pretty accurate about recording the amount of sleep that you get. However, I don't know like how accurate, it's not, I wouldn't say it's the most accurate when it comes to registering like your sleep cycles. I probably should have Googled that before. I didn't really have an idea of how in-depth I would get in this app really with this video, but basically how you have like your REM and all that stuff. Well, this app specifically has it broken down into only 3 types of sleep styles. Like each Pokemon has their own sleep style. So you see here we have the dozing type, then we have the snoozing type, and then is it slumbering? Yes, slumbering type. So you have like from your lightest to mid to heaviest type sleep. So for example, just under the dozing type alone, we have like this Caterpie over here, which I need to read, well, yeah, and it'll tell you like its gender, how many you've come across in your sleep studies, as they put it, how many actually became your Pokemon, the gender, all your classic information. And then what is different with this sleep style dex from a regular Pokédex is it'll tell you just information specifically about its sleeping habits. So for example, for the Caterpie here, it says, on very rare occasions, okay, this is kind of sus, but just hear me out. This is literally what it says. It says, Caterpie looks as though it has fallen asleep in the middle of using string shot. It appears that it drools string instead of saliva while it sleeps. So that's interesting. You can also, when you wake up in the morning and you're researching all the Pokemon that you gathered overnight, you can get cute little pictures of it, and it saves that. And then a star, I don't know exactly what that's based off of, but I'm assuming, so under like, so you have like your dozing type sleep, and then the type of sleep it is specifically is sprawled sleep. So I'm guessing that these other ones are also going to be like sprawled type sleepers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my guess. I don't know. I have yet to collect more than one in a subcategory like that, if that makes sense. So these are the ones that I have found in my research sleep, but they're not all my Pokemon. As I've said before, when you wake up in the morning, you give them biscuits because they're hungry, and depending on how well that goes, if you max out your friendship points, then they become your Pokemon. They become a part of your team, your sleep research partners. Let me see if I can pull that up really quick. So Pokemon, this bottom left over here. So you can have, right now, you can expand your box with like diamonds or sleep points or whatever. But right now I can get up to 80. I only have 13. So these are the Pokemon that I have collected. And you can put them in order from your most recent collected to your very first one. They give you a Pikachu to start off, by the way. And then, or you can do it from first to most recent. In case you couldn't tell, I've been changing their names when I get them. So this one, the Pikachu, of course, since it's my main partner, I've named it after my husband. So, and then I have some Pichus. So there's one I named like what I would name it in general, is like a little AAA peanut. So that's what I called it, that. But then I also have other Pichus. Obviously with Pikachu there, the Pichus are more likely to show up. So I've got one named after my little guy. And then I got another Pichu, so I went ahead and named that one after one of my kitties. After Vesta. But other than that, like actual names, I also, Charmander, I've named Co-Lizard instead. Some of them are not as creative. Oh my gosh, this feel right now is so adorable, and it's my favorite. It looks like a freaking Squishmallow. I named it Tilitum, like after Tilikum, the SeaWorld whale. Rip Tilikum, you will be missed. But also, you know, what you did was kind of sucky, but we understand. You lived in a pond, okay? But anyways, I named it Tilitum. Let's see what else. Geodude, I have named Himbo Jimbro. What was this one called? Sudowoodo. I named it Macrosai. Like instead of bonsai, it's like a big bonsai, so I named it Macrosai. I know, I have no life. This Wynot, I went ahead, since it's called Wynot, I named it Preschooler because preschoolers are constantly asking why not. Why not? Cleffa, I went ahead and renamed Neapolitani because it looks like a little Neapolitan ice cream to me. So I named it Neapolitani. The Larvitar, very adorable. I just went ahead and named it Starbelly. I was thinking of naming it something like from Land Before Time, like how there's Sharptooth, for example, and long necks and all that. So I went kind of like childish, like Land Before Time / Dr. Seuss type name. So went ahead and came up with Starbelly. And then this one, oh my gosh, I forget what it's normally called. But I named it, it's adorable, I love it. I named it Sheet Trick because it looks like it's covered in like a blanket sheet. Looks like something you'd see on a Halloween, like a trick or treat. So I named it Sheet Trick, even though it's a male, but you know, it's all good. Let's see. There's a star next to this one. I've never seen that before. What's that for? What is, oh, I marked it as my favorite. Sorry, you're not my favorite. No one's my favorite. Until I have an Eevee. Then I will have a favorite. Anyways. Although I did just say that Tilitum's kind of my favorite. Because just look at it. It's so round. It's like... Okay, anyways. Also, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish as well. So the Psyduck I've renamed to something short for... because Psyduck is known for like having headaches. So I named it short for like dolor de cabeza pato. So dolor de capato is what I named it. So yeah, there's a little update on that. just names I've come up with for these fake creatures. Okay, so now onto teams. So also use some Spanish for the names of the teams. You can name your teams. So teams of 5, you have a leader, and then 4 Pokemon underneath that. If you want, for example, like you can do like, if I want, so for example, I have Leon on this team, but then I also have him on the next team as a leader. So, you know, you can repeat. It doesn't have to be like 1 and 1, and you know what I mean? So the first team, Team Mason, is going to be like the most recent Pokemon that I've gotten. Although right now there is like, they have events going on every once in a while. Like this past weekend they had like a full moon event. You get like bonus points, etc. Certain Pokemon are more likely to appear depending on which camp you're at. Things like that. Get certain bonuses. So, but now this week, in case you couldn't tell from this cute little top right button, is Eevee week. So I'm trying to bring a certain Eevee into play by my main team, the team I'm using right now, having Pikachu, Pichu, as well as Neapolitani, because it's a fairy type. Trying to bring a Sylveon into this would be awesome. Although I'd be happy with any Eevee, really. But trying to focus on one type, and then these other 2 are like my most recent caught. So that's the main team. And then my second team has like the OGs, I guess you could say. And now I've got enough Pokemon. I've even got a third team going on of the ones that I've caught in between, like the first ones I've caught and the most recent ones I've caught, if that makes sense. Or you could just, you know, so mine is more of a first in, first out type classification. There's really no strategy if you really want to get into it. They all have their own stats. So you click on stats, it's going to tell you like what kind of berries all of them have gotten, ingredients. They get ingredients too, and like how often they use skills or whatever, you know. But I'm just like, mainly I'm just using this to record my sleep, and it just happens to have Pokemon on it, which is pretty cool. And I have a flexible enough schedule to where I can keep track of my numbers for myself, and also like feed them when they're hungry or whatever. Make sure they're energized too, because apparently that's another thing, is like even if you feed them, but if you, I think it's because if you don't get enough sleep, they're not as energized. So for example, let me go back on over here, maybe y'all noticed it. You see these little smiley and frowny faces underneath them. So yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to fix that, how to like re-energize them. You can either like get pillows for them, or buy certain incense that energizes them a little bit more overnight. I think that's pretty much all you can do, really. So I used some incense last night, so that really helped put everyone's levels back up. We'll see where we get back to by the end of the night, or tomorrow morning, whatever. And also, yeah, it's really about it, is just getting them pillows and incense. I just wait until like their levels are low enough to where they're like into purple and it's like a full-on frowny face, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll help you out with your energy levels. I mean, I need help with my energy levels, but sure, let me get you something to get energized. Yeah. So up here in the top left, there's different levels. I'll go into that another time. That's really not what I'm mainly here for. I completely went on another tangent just trying to explain one thing here because, you know, my brain. Showed you the Pokemon. So, sleep. Mainly night, I would think like 90% of the people that download this app is because they're having problems with their sleep. So how good is this with keeping track of your sleep? So I showed you the sleep data, or not the, yeah, like on here, this main page here, the little chart you have going on. So then you also have the sleep data. Also keep in mind, if you have something like an Apple Samsung watch, you can like link it to your phone, so it can be a little bit more accurate, because those smartwatches like keep track of your heart rate and whatever. But anyways, I digress. Back to this sleep data. So this goes back up to like 30 days, I want to say. So obviously it's going from the beginning, which I just started last week. It'll tell you what kind. There's even a balance type. That's it just gives you balance type if you like manually insert the hours you've slept, for example, and once in a blue moon your sleep will actually be the balance type. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, you get to save pictures from each session, just one picture, whatever your favorite picture is of that. It'll tell you the day, if you did more than one session, like you see here on November 16th, there's a session 1 and 2, how many sleep points you got off of that, the hours, like the time frame, all that good stuff. So you can just look that over all every once in a while and see if anything's getting stabilized or destabilized. Sleep trends, I finally looked at today because I wanted a bigger sample of data to go off of. But like I said, it's not very accurate because my phone died at one point. I would forget to put in other times if I slept, if I went back to sleep or not. So just take this right here for myself with a grain of salt. It gives you a grade at the end of the week. Obviously would probably be better if I had not done the things that I just said that I did. So there is that information. Sleep, as far as sleep consistency goes, and then there's sleep statistics. So that's what this is going to look like right here. One records, one. Yeah, I'm not too sure what this is exactly. This is for like the week. Oh, okay, so it goes on week to week. Okay, I see. So today is what, yeah. So I guess I kind of started, the previous week. And it'll tell you, okay, I'm live getting processing. Okay, so you have 6 records because there was one where it was cut short, right? Out of the week. Sleep data, it'll tell you the total time you slept, if it was an increase or less compared to last week, I'm guessing. Average daily sleep score, average daily sleep duration. As you can see, on average, I get a good 5 hours of sleep, if you want to call it good, because like I said, I have nightmares, and I don't think it really tracks that. So keep that in mind. Average time to fall asleep is like 10 minutes, which sounds about right? The first time I'm going to sleep, I'm pretty good about it. It's the second part, as I've said. Number of sleep sessions, and then we have the types. That's interesting. Wake up times. As you can see, I like to wake up in the middle of the night for some reason. So this is for from I'm gonna say midnight to 7 a.m. Falling asleep times. Not sure what these numbers. Hours, I'm guessing? Oh, it's in military time. So 13 is 1 p.m. And let me see here. So it looks like on average I fell asleep the first time from 9 to 10:30. Interesting. And then average sleep duration by day. So I'm guessing this is going to go back 30 days. So on average so far, Mondays off. But Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then back to Sunday. So that's what that looks like. So if any of that information sounds good, something you like to know, something you want to help with, keeping track of, I would recommend that. Just keep in mind all the other stuff I mentioned you would have to do in the meantime as well, first thing when you wake up, before you go to sleep, etc. But one thing, so we're finally to the main thing that I wanted to mention, that I wanted to share with y'all. So let me see if I can find it. Just give me 1 second here, okay? So another very interesting thing that it does when you're sleeping is it records you. So, yeah, and also if you go to this, okay, very, very last thing. So the sleep data, if you go, let's see, if you wish, with a regular pass, view up to 30 days, all pass, premium pass. There's premium pass. I'm not going to bother with premium pass for this, okay? So you can go day by day, right? It'll tell you, here's your main picture. Oh, there's a diary. Oh, well, you need a premium pass for that. Just know, if you get a premium pass, you can have a diary for day by day. Fun stuff. Well, now I'm tempted. Okay, snoozing type, the hours, what % of each type, what that graph looks like. You have sleep, right? The sleeping type. And then you have sounds. And as you can tell, the very first night I used this app, there was quite a few sounds going on, which you have to take in with a grain of salt if you live in a house like I do. I sleep with the little guy, so he's got his own noises and tossing and turning he does, I'm sure. And then there's also the 4 cats, there's the fish tank. Say less, I guess. Time to fall asleep, dozing, and then each of the sleeping type, the drowsy power that you get is insane, the numbers that you get, because it'll be like Snorlax, as you can see the formula underneath, it'll say Snorlax strength times sleep score. Ugh, that was a tongue twister. Say that 4 times fast. Times whatever your sleep score happens to be, which apparently you can get up to 100 per day. Is score or points? I don't know. I'm getting it mixed up here. But yeah, and then it'll tell you which Pokemon you came across that night, which ones you've befriended, and then what device you used. Obviously, I'm doing this on my phone. I don't have a smartwatch. So, now, finally, onto the recordings. So yeah, it records you overnight. Oh no, the data was deleted. I really wanted to show you guys that. Well, let's see how far back it goes. See if there's any. Why would you delete? Okay. Balanced. I don't think there was any. Yeah, there's no recordings. Okay, next is Thursday. Any recordings? It says it's. Yeah, I wish it would just say 0 then if it's not going to have any recordings. How about Friday? I'm sure y'all would love to hear what I hear and talk about in my sleep. Here's Saturday, the first session and then Saturday, the second session. Oh, it was deleted. No. Darn. There was something. The main reason why I made this video. And it didn't say. So, okay. So, another thing to keep in mind is if, you want to hear. Make sure you do it like the day of, within a 24-hour or 48-hour period. Because I could have swore last week, just yesterday, the other day, I could have seen all of this. And now it's gone. So I don't know if it clears out at the end of the week or what. Yeah, so it'll record all the other information, but the recordings will be deleted. So I will keep an eye on that, but if anything else interesting comes up, I will definitely share with y'all, because, okay, you're probably not going to believe me now, because I don't have it on here, but there was one night where I literally said, wait, what? In my sleep. Because, okay, so when I sleep, like anybody else in this time, modern time that we live in, I go to sleep listening to YouTube videos, like mainly the long form. And it will be, for me personally, it'll be like 33% Penguin Zero, 33% Queso, 33% like Extinct Zoo or some kind of other National Geographic type ordeal, right? Documentary type going on in the background for me to fall asleep to. And I don't know how many Queso fans are listening to this right now, but you know how a lot of his streams, he's just like, wait, what? So, like, I said, wait, what, in my sleep. And then, like, 5 minutes later, he was saying, wait, what? So, there's that. So, it's confirmed now. I have been informed before by my husband that I talk in my sleep. When I used to work like 60 hours a week, I would work in my sleep. I would talk about work in my sleep. So, but I guess I still talk in my sleep. And now it's been confirmed. So, yeah, I will keep an eye on that. And if anything interesting comes up, I will let y'all know. But other than that, mostly it's just whenever the streamers or YouTubers are just shouting or being a little bit too loud, it'll record it too. So that's interesting. It's like, oh, okay, so that's what I was listening to that night, and that's why maybe my dreams were a little bit weird. I don't think they're causing nightmares for me. That's just CPTSD and PTSD overall. But, you know, hey. But I think that's enough covering all of that. Glad I finally got to cover this thing I've been saying I'm gonna cover, and I don't really get around to it. So just a very loosey-goosey explanation. Throughout the day, you get on the app and check out your camp. If they got a little question mark, it means they found something. So this one got some berries, and then your Snorlax eats it. He gets more, whatchamacallit up here? Strength. Right. He gets more strength. And as his strength goes up, his points, he goes up in levels. So you start with the regular Pokeball, Basic 1 through 5, then you have Great 1 through 5, Ultra 1 through 5, and Master 1 through... Ooh, I didn't realize there were so many levels. Master 1 through 20. Okay. So... that's for all of y'all out there that want to really get into the nitty-gritty of this app and max your stats, and you want to strategize what Pokemon you use when to get your Snorlax the strongest it can be, with food and sleep. Because, fun fact, every week you start with a new Snorlax. So just the other day, my Snorlax was huge. It almost took up this whole entire blanket. You watch it grow too. It's kind of fun. And so now, new week, we're starting with a new Snorlax, and he's a little guy. Low-key kind of wish they would start with a Munchlax, actually, you know? And then the Munchlax evolves into a Snorlax. But I get it, Snorlax is more on brand as a sleepy Pokemon than a Munchlax. So, but that's just me being a geek. So, but I think that pretty much covers more than enough for now. And I might do another video later this week. I don't think I'll do another one today. Like, I've crossed that off my list. Like, later this week, next week, I don't know. You know how it is. Everything is up in the air for me. I just take things one day at a time, as you can see. So, but yeah, that is that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like that kind of content, or if you've seen my channel and you like any other kind of content that I've been posting. And yeah, I'd say that's about it. I will see y'all on the next one. PetSmart app. Sorry, PetSmart, I'm not going to see you guys till next month if everything works out for me according to my goal. Okay, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Okay.